And this obviously is a topic that we could spend a whole semester talking about values and what makes life meaningful for us and so on. But we're not. We're going to spend 75 minutes, and now time has gone by, so it's going to be about 65 minutes. And we're going to try to cover values even around the world. And so obviously we're just going to scratch the surface. But what we want to do is just kind of scratch that surface and give you kind of a sense of what it is that the kinds of things that we're looking at. Okay. So next slide. So here we'll go down it's east versus west, so it's east and west, right? So maybe we can start with choosy. Maybe just say who you are, where you're from, and so on.
Hello. Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Chusi Kun, and I'm from China. Do I need to say which city of that? It's Xi'an. Maybe a lot of people don't know Xi'an. They only know like the Canton, Beijing, Shanghai. Xi'an actually is a very famous city in China. The ancient China has a lot of dynasty, and Xi'an is 13 dynasties capital city. Yeah.
Dude, awesome, man. Wait, Choosy, and how do you pronounce your last name?
Actually, Qin, but
Qin?
yeah,
Oh, wait,
Qin.
hang on. I want to see if Sung Chang can you pronounce his last name?
Keen?
Wait, I want to see who does it better, the Korean guy or the American guy. Go ahead, try it again. No, go ahead, bro.
Oh, Jin.
Chin.
It's pretty similar.
All right, okay. Just want to, All right, man, go ahead, bro.
So I'm Sung Chan. I was born in South Korea, and I grew up in America. I was born in Seoul.
Wait, hang on. You were born in Seoul,
Yeah.
and you grew up completely in the U.S.?
Oh no, I visited like a couple of times. I spent 2 years in Korea.
Oh, wait, hang on. I might bring, hang on. Who's here that's straight from Korea? Wait, who's from Korea? Like, bro, do you want to volunteer today? Are you ready? Yeah. Dude, Sung Chan, I'm going to use you first. I'd like to have you volunteer for something else.
That's cool.
You would be the perfect person. So I'm going to relieve you of your duties today. All right?
Let's go.
Bro, come on down. Hang on. But on a different day, you'll be a perfect volunteer on a different day. I was looking for someone exactly like you. All right, man, you're on, bro. Thanks, man. Yeah, go ahead. I'll remember. Probably. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
So I'm from Korea, South Korea, and I'm senior.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah, I have to tell my name. So I'm Yoon Sang Lee, and senior accounting major, and from South Korea. And I lived South Korea until I was in high school, so I should be the one to find it.
All right, man. Do me a favor. Make a name tag for yourself. So, okay. Go ahead.
I'm Danielle. I'm from Lake Bucks County, PA. I've never moved, so.
And your mom is
My mom's she's from Canada.
from Canada?
Yeah,
Does she like
grew up
hockey
there.
by chance?
She played hockey all throughout high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Danielle.
Mhm.
All right.
And I'm Carolina. I was born in Mexico and lived there for like 5 years. And since then, I've just lived in Texas or Pennsylvania here.
Texas is practically Mexico, right? So it's Yun Sung, right? Lee Yung Sung. Okay. Or E Yung Sung. How'd I do? Left the L out? See, I got it. All right. So here's what we're going to do. First off, don't so what I want to talk about, we're going to have a conversation about values, okay? And your job, what you're going to do is just the best that you can do. Just tell me, you're going to tell us what you see about these different countries from your particular perspective, okay? From where you sit. My wife calls it a person's sociological address, meaning that, like what's really fascinating is that, like, if you think about it, every single person in this room has just a different way of seeing things, right? Because everyone goes through something different, right? Everyone sees something different. Everybody has different experiences. And so we often get stuck arguing with one another or whatever, having these conversations about the right way to see something, the wrong way to see something. But the truth is that every one of these people in here has a different vision of the world because every person has walked a unique path and has a unique background, just like all of you, right? So it's impossible for any of you to represent any of these places, right? I mean, you're really North America because it's Mexico and Canada and the U.S. That's not possible, but as best as you can, we're going to just talk about things that you see from your perspectives, okay? And you have the hardest job because, you're representing 1.4 billion people, right? So, that's just kind of absurd on the face of it. So don't turn around, any of you, right? I want to talk about a slide here with the class, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. So, class, this is something that I've done. This is something that I've talked about in different times. It's something I kind of put it together about these different ways of being in the world. And you understand that, from the West and just North America there are just unique experiences that Mexicans have as a connection to the United States, or a connection even to the southern United States that's just like this unique, right, to the world. And there's this perspective and these different places. It's like this is one of those moments for me that it's almost like for me to really be able to say this, I would have to be on shrooms. And then if I was on shrooms, I wouldn't actually be able to say it. So it's a lose-lose situation. But the thing is, like, people just have different sensibilities about the way they walk through the world. And if you read those things up there on the screen, you can see like how these, in general, this isn't across the board because everybody's different, right? But in a general sense, that these two gentlemen here are much more likely to walk through the world like what you see in the left-hand column there than these two young women here. They're more likely to walk through the world with what you see in the right column. And those are really different as much as they matter for people's lives. So with that in mind, I'm just going to see if there's anything. Are you following? Is everybody following? Like, do you, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. Do you see how hard it is with math? Like, I have no idea if anyone's like, I think you just laughed, but I'm not sure of that. You know what I mean? When I made my shroom joke, that guy laughed, so I knew that. But dudes, if you look at those two columns, this is a radically different orientation of the world. So if you think about sitting down and having, and I'm going to let you all look at this in a second, but just not now. If you think about the U.S. sitting down and trying to have a conversation, some kind of negotiations with the Chinese, so the U.S. government and the Chinese government, and you're coming at it from these very different perspectives. This is game changing, right? This is really game changing. So let me just start with you. What do you do? Like, what do you like to do? Like, do you have any, like, what kind of hobbies do you have?
I don't really have hobbies because I'm really busy.
Uh-huh. What are you busy
So
with?
I go to school and I work.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what do you study?
I study kinesiology
Uh-huh.
and I want to be a physician assistant.
A physician. And how are your grades?
I'd say pretty well. I'm graduating
Talk right into the.
pretty well. I'm graduating a year early.
Yeah? And do you consider yourself smart, or do you?
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. How about, yeah, Danielle, right?
Yeah.
How about you? What do you do?
Like, I mean, here I like to hang out with my
Yeah, like
friends.
okay, go ahead.
Like, when I'm, like, not doing school, like, I love going out, like, to the frats and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, hanging out with my friends. I mean, if I have time to do something, I will, like, other than school, obviously. My major's finance, so it's like the business school.
Yeah. And are
I
you,
mean,
and are you good at it? Are you like,
I mean, I have the GPA to get into it, so I'd say it's not that bad, but, yeah.
uh-huh. Okay. Yun Sung, how about you? Hold the mic really close. Like, what do you do for hobbies?
So I like photographing, and
You have
Some-
photography?
I bought my camera for photo class, but I dropped it because to get into this one.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, that was
Unfortunate.
unfortunate, right? You could, dude, you do photography? Can you take
Just
pic-
for my hobby.
Yeah, you can take some pictures in
But
here.
I didn't bring my camera today.
Well, not today, but another day.
unfortunately, again.
So
I'm doing
and how are you at photography? Are you good?
No, it's just for my hobby. Like, I just got into class for
Yeah?
sports class.
What else do you do?
I like soccer, playing
Yeah?
soccer with my
You play soccer?
team. There's a Korean team.
Yeah.
It's
How long
called-
are you good at it?
Maybe they don't understand my skills.
How long you been playing?
Pretty much from high school
Yeah.
team.
Okay. Choosy. How about you? What do you do?
For now, I'm doing a startup. If you look at my shirt, it's the
Yeah.
thing I'm doing now, the startup.
Dude,
Yeah, you
get a
can.
sh- get a shot
it's,
of that.
it's a it's a delivery platform like the DoorDash or the Uber Eats, but especially for the Chinese restaurant. You can
Locally?
yeah. Now
So
it's
could I like
locally.
order some egg rolls right now?
No. Our our app is still in the alpha phase and is not available on the App Store. And we are now doing the testing in the final phase, and it might be available in the end of this month. And for my hobby, maybe negotiate and talking with the venture capital, including
Okay.
the launch box in the PSU.
Dude,
Yeah.
killing it, man. So so what do you study?
Hmm?
What do you study?
If you look at my Asia phase, maybe you can guess.
Yeah. Business,
No.
accounting, engineering.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. I was actually going to say English or history or something, but
yeah,
you know.
I'm a double major. I'm computer science and math.
So are you smart?
I think yes, because
All
you know
right.
the computer science and math are really challenge subject.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, so listen, man. The reason I asked, yeah, it was interesting. So you can't, we're just going down here so you can turn around and look at this, right? But in East Asian cultures, the thing you see, and I see this all the time because I do a lot of work, it's a lot of work in Korea, but I also have a lot of experience talking and working with people in China. And you see in Japan, and you see this sort of underestimating of abilities, right? Both of you were like, oh, you know, okay, but you're probably, usually were like, I think so, but probably actually you're really, really talented. And you said like, no, not really, right? But often, a lot of times in the West, you know, it just becomes this thing where, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's just the way to move forward in the world. It's like with a certain degree of confidence, you know, that you say, and a confidence that you put out into the world, because that's the way we come to see one another and come to understand one another, right? So, well, in the two of you, put that confidence out there. It's not seen as like bragging. It's not seen as a problem. It's just like, okay, that's cool. You're asserting your individuality. But these two gentlemen right here, when they put that same kind of confidence out, then that's not seen. You know, they in the Eastern world, you're much more kind of your center of focus. It's like a radar. You know, you're like pinging, right? Like sonar. You know, how it's sonar, bro. How about that? Sonar. It's kind of, you're pinging all the time. And in Korea, you call it nunchi, right? Yeah? Can you explain what nunchi is? It's
It's
really
like-
hard to explain.
Being conscious with others.
Being conscious of others?
Mhm.
It's like social intelligence, right?
Kind of like.
Do you think I have a lot of nunchi?
No, you don't.
I don't?
You just called me out.
Oh, I just
but
call
I
you.
didn't want to.
Do you think he?
Kidding.
Right, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the idea is your sonar is operating, and your sonar is sort of pinging what other people in your orientation are thinking and feeling, and like you want to be at their level. Like you don't want to be higher than, you don't want to be lower than. You want to sort of be together. If everyone's together, if there's some kind of community, we all move forward together, and it's a good thing. Right? So when you think about like negotiating, for example, with China and Korea as just some kind of example like this, how different it would be than negotiating with the United States. In the US, like, we want to like exert the force, we want to show that we're like, we've got this, the whole thing. And in China and in Korea, there's so much about saving face and being like, we're going to make sure that we don't put you down any further than we would want to put down, or we don't elevate you any further than we would want to be elevated. And so that would matter. It would matter how you walk through. Reputation is really, really big. Okay? So what I want to do, do you guys want to, would you say anything about that, what I just said? Is there anything you would add to that about,
It's kind of win-win strategy.
say that again?
Win-win strategy.
It's a win-win strategy? Mhm.
We typically have in
And
my
do you-
mind.
Yeah. What more would you say? Like, do you have any more that you would say, like some examples, or? It's fine if you don't.
So we don't want to let others down by just letting, just like, how do you say, like saying like overestimating our abilities.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Hmm.
so we just don't want to let others down.
Okay, I got you. All right. Chuzi, does that make sense for you as a Chinese person from China? Do you have anything you would add to it?
Actually,
Hold the mic close.
yeah, actually, the friends from the Korean just talked about what I'm talking, what I'm trying to talk. Yeah, it's a win-win strategy. If you don't want others to, yeah, it's good. It's never not good to let others down.
To like really push others down. Yeah.
I think it's never good. Yeah.
So it's better if you can win while kind of somehow uplifting others.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a huge, like it's a huge like way of it's a hugely different way of seeing it, and also focusing on the things you don't do well. Does that make sense for the two of you?
Actually, some, Chinese recently really grow fast, and the previous generations, like my grandparents' generation and ours, think it's really different.
Mm-hmm.
From their experiences, they think their experiences will really help us, but we already know that their generations think it's already not applied to the now current world.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they are trying to be good and teach the things that they think good, and try to use their think the good way to like guide you, to teach you, but sometimes that will really let you down. But I know their hearts or their thinking initially is good, but the way is kind of different from the nowadays world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, awesome, man. So let's do this. I'm going to show you some slides. Can you go to the next slide? Take a look at this. So the Pew Research looked at 17 more advanced economies, and they asked people, what makes life meaningful? And just wanted to know, like, what is it? And they gave them all these different options here of really kind of focusing on what makes your life meaningful. So I want you all, the four of you, to look at this, and I want you all to answer that. Like, what makes life meaningful? Like, what's the first thing you would say and the second thing you would say? And maybe you don't have a second thing. Maybe you only have one. And, like, what makes life meaningful? And Carolina, what would you say?
I would say health.
What would you say?
Health.
Health. Okay, what else?
Education.
Health and education for you? Okay. What do you think Mexicans would say?
I think they would say family and spirituality or freedom or and religion.
Uh-huh. And Danielle, how about you?
Right now I would say friends and education.
Yeah. And what do you think Americans would say?
Like anyone.
What's
like,
the top choice for Americans?
I'd probably say like freedom and occupation, maybe. Society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yun Song. How about you? What do you what is it for you?
I want to pick two, but I want to combine them.
Yeah.
One is material well-being and one is freedom.
Material
So I want to be,
well-being and
materially
freedom.
freedom.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what it means?
All right. And Chuzi, how about you?
For me, I value most friends and the health.
Friends and health? Okay. So it's interesting that you say that. So here is, I'm going to show you. So I saw this, and dude, first off, it's so fascinating that Yun Sung, that you answer material well-being as your top. So can you go to the next slide? So I'm gonna just leave this up here for a hot minute, and kind of just take a look at it. We don't have China up here, and we don't have Mexico up here, but I know I can tell you what it's going to be for them. But look at how everybody says family, except Spain, which says health first, and families down here, which is so fascinating. South Korea, which is material well-being, which is exactly what you said. And Taiwan is society, and some of the society for Taiwan is largely because of just the relationship right now with mainland China and related to Hong Kong and so on, right? But, so let me ask you, what do you think? Let me start with you. So in Mexico, you think people would say family first. So can you say more about that? Like, what is that?
So growing up in my culture, even though I grew up in Texas and in the U.S., my parents still really embodied the Mexican culture. And that being said, growing up, my support system was my family. And that's not to say that I didn't have friends, but my parents were just very strict, and they definitely prioritized like health, school, and like sports over social life, as they would call it. So I was sort of limited to like one social outing a week up until until I sort of just like did what I wanted and just like didn't listen to them.
So this is you, but you would say, but in Mexican culture.
In Mexican culture, they definitely prioritize their family the most, I would say. And we are all very close to our families. I feel like in the US, it's very like first family, like your cousins and your grandparents, and that's it. But in Mexico, it's like the whole family tree.
Yeah, like everybody is a cousin.
Yeah.
You know, and Danielle, how about you? Like, what do you make of the fact that in the U.S. family is first also? Because do you think most people around the world see that?
I was actually really surprised by that myself.
What surprised you?
Because like in the United States, I feel like kids, like compared to like what you just said, like kids are a lot more like free and can kind of do whatever they want. I mean, depending on the household, but from what like I've grown up with, like I can go out as much as I want, like see my friends, and my friends are the same way. And like, yeah, you get together with like your extended family with like holidays and stuff, but I'm actually really surprised it said family first. I mean, yeah, people like they love hanging out with their families here, but I wouldn't say that like our lives revolve around spending time with our families.
So is that what do you think people in your community, in your particular community, would say something similar?
I mean, again, like it depends on the household, but like, I guess so, yeah. Like, I mean, the high school I went to, like, everyone would always hang out, and like, we didn't, like, I never met someone who like would be like, oh, like I'm staying in to spend time with my family tonight, like.
Yeah, which is odd because that's how we envision it, and that's how we envision in the U.S. But this is, so even though if we don't spend time with the family, it doesn't mean that we do.
Yeah.
It means this is what in our minds is most valuable to us, right? So we might have one way we see things, but then in the other sense, it's like, no, but this is how I feel and this is how I think. Go ahead. Anything else?
I mean, I feel like you could look at it from like a different perspective. Like for me, like my family's like my support system. So like since I was little, like it's always been about like education, going to college, getting a job. Like I feel like a lot of people in America like also have that where it's like your family pushes you to succeed. So that could also be something.
Yeah, Carolina.
I wanted to add something for the U.S. I personally feel that it's not necessarily family, but more of like family values that the U.S. values.
Yeah.
It's like what family means to them, not necessarily the actual entity and like the physical being of like a group of like four, you know?
So you may spend very little time with your family in the U.S., but still the embodiment of that idea, like you've embraced that idea to some degree. Yeah, I think you're right on with that. Yun Sung, how about what is it that led you? You said material well-being, like you were right on with this. Like what is that? What's that mean?
Before I begin, I admit saw your research and I should have answered the mental well-being in the first place, but in my personal thoughts, so Koreans who grew up in 1950s, which is our ancestors and my fathers, they went through Korean War in their early childhood, and some of them lost their family in the war, and the way to protect their family was to go to America or go to other countries in that time.
Or to make money.
And those cost money.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, why most people pick mental well-being in the first place is because they want to protect their family. I think it's the most thing they consider about it.
So what's interesting then is that, so what you're saying is, even though people are, so the number one, what's interesting about that with Korea is not only is it the number one, the only country that said material well-being came first, it was the country that had more people, of all the people that responded, it was the one country that had more people who said, I only have one answer for this. I'm not even going to rank them, like first, second, third, fourth. I just have one thing, and that's material well-being and nothing else, right? By far and away. So what's interesting is that when you say material well-being, it means something very different than just the idea like, hey, I'm just out here for myself. Like I'm going to do like choosy here. I'm going to have a startup and I'm going to make a lot of money and I'm going to buy a Ferrari or whatever.
That pick is not being a millionaire or being so rich like Elon Musk.
So the key is you don't really want to be super rich. You just want to be comfortable.
To just keep my family safe.
Keep the family safe. Okay. Which matters, right? Like here, which is interesting, right? Like in the U.S., so think about this. In the U.S., we're saying, and for both of you, right? It's like, okay, we're going to put family first, but I'd like to be super rich. And then I can do whatever I want. And then that kind of is maybe I'll help me or maybe help my family. And you're saying like, no, the primary thing would be if I'm going to make money, it's to help my family. Choosy, how about you? What did you say again?
The first is the friends and the second is house.
Okay.
I see.
So China isn't up there, but where do you think China would be if it was up there?
I think it's still the family, because I already treat my friends as already my family. Probably the reason I didn't choose the family because I haven't seen my parents face to face like 2.5 years. And you know the family, you have two identities as in the family. One, you are the children, you are the child. One, you are the parent. For me, if I'm going to be the parent in the future, maybe I will also value the family as my most. Yeah. And if I didn't come to the state and just stay in my hometown and come back every day in the night, in the evening, after I finish my school, I could meet my parents and doing the dinner together. I will also value the family as my first.
So are you an only child?
No,
How many?
two.
There are two of you?
Yeah,
Another boy or a girl?
another boy.
Yeah. Is your brother back in China?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here, a couple other questions, right? When you see these kinds of this question, right? What makes life meaningful, right? Can I just ask you a question? Like, no, hang on. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to see if I'm going to go. Go to the next slide, right? So let me show you something here. I don't have the. So here are the 4 different countries, and I want to point something out here about how this matters. So you said, Yun Sung, you said something about this, but let me point something out here really fast. So these are the GDPs of these 4 countries, and 1965 and 2019, and you think 1965 in China was $69 billion U.S. This is all in U.S., right? And in 2019, about $14.2 trillion. Like, look at the growth. Cheesy is amazing. Korea, by contrast, this is 1965, right after the war. Korea was a poor country, a really poor country, and $3.1 billion was the GDP in 1965, which was less than, I don't know, it was less than like Algeria, less than Ghana, right? Less than so many other countries. And look at right now, it's 1.5 trillion, which isn't a lot compared to China or the United States, but it's so much compared to where it was in 1965. I mean, the growth it's unprecedented in some ways in history. The U.S., 744 billion up to 21 trillion, obviously the largest economy in the world. And then look at Mexico. So it's right behind Korea, but it started at 22 billion versus 3.1. So when you have this, so what I want to ask the two of you, so let me ask the two of you, when you see this and look at like China, look at the growth between China and Korea and so on, what do you imagine? Just what story do you tell about their lives? Like, what kind of story do you have? Like,
I don't know them.
Yeah. Okay. No. But think about this. They're coming from countries like this. What's the story you have about these people, or these people who was a poor country, and suddenly now is just flooded with so much wealth, right?
For me, I think technology and education,
Mm-hmm.
they definitely, I mean, to go from that to being so much more wealthier, I'd say when I think of China, I think of high technology, they produce a lot of things, and a good education. Everyone I met from there seems highly educated, so I'd say that definitely has something to do with it.
Mm-hmm. And part of that is the people you meet, who are certainly coming over here are more educated. But yeah, how about, let me ask the two of you, tell me what's the story, Young Sung, right? What's the Korea story, right? Well, how does that play into material well-being? What do people not understand about Korea, let's say? You said something about it earlier, but maybe just say more.
So, I believe students in this class haven't gone through any poverty in their childhood, or some of them may have, but most of us have their fathers is a working capital,
Mm-hmm.
who is just medium or above medium,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and whose salary is medium or above medium, and my family, my father as well, has grown himself into those level, and I'm the result.
Hmm. So he was able to go from nothing to something, and then you're the result of that. And how many people, like, how much do you talk about that in Korea? How much do Koreans talk about that? All this new sudden wealth and, advancement and so on. How much is that? Like, how much do you talk about the past and where Korea was and now where it is?
We don't usually talk about our wars, but when we visit our grandfather, they told us about how
Mhm.
they grew up in their childhood, how they've been through their life, that
So-
kind of things.
Yeah. So are you told about it a lot?
Yes, and that's kind of cultural thing that we embrace
Mm-hmm.
throughout our life.
Mm-hmm. So it's a cultural thing that you like really take that in. So seeing some kind of like in the U.S. So Danielle, like when I think about the U.S., it's like, well, when I was young, or go back a while, the U.S. has been the dominant economy in the world for a long time. So I don't even really think about it. But Korea went from one of the poorest countries in the world to now the 12th largest economy in the world. It's like this is a major shift in the way Koreans see things. I mean, it's like, my God, it has such a transformative power to it. Chuzi, how about you? Like, how is that?
Actually, there is a joke. It's just a joke. I'd like to share. I just see this before the class. It says the first generation of Chinese, normal labor. The second generation Chinese, maybe the restaurant owner, the restaurant manager. As the second generation Chinese, maybe the business or the engineering. And the fourth generations, politicians or artists. You can see it's always growing. And ordinary people in the Western world, I know probably this is not so good, but this is exactly I read from the Reddit. The first generation,
Well, then it's true.
the first generation of Italian selling pizza, second selling pizza, third selling pizza, fourth selling pizza. Yeah, this is just a joke. It's just a joke.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
Americans will be selling McDonald's, but speaking Mandarin or Cantonese, maybe. So
Yes, and from the chart of this, it's a micro from the country state, but from my personal perspective, there are a lot of people from the 0 to 1, from the 1 to the 100,000 million. Chinese really love to start their business, even just a normal small restaurant, because.
But
Yeah.
they don't want their kids to do it. Their kids, they want to do something else.
Yes.
It's not uncommon here in the U.S., right? So maybe the two of you could say something about this, even in Mexico. It's not uncommon here, but it's like there's just a way in which this newfound wealth, like I don't think that you can, here, let me just see if I can say this, right? Because I want you to really see this. You gotta, it's like envision growing up, like here in the United States, when you grew, like I grew up in this country that was the #1 economy in the world when I was a kid. All my life it was the #1 economy, and and the assumption is it will be the world's largest economy until China overtakes us, which China will, right? I mean, it's on track to be doing that pretty soon. But to understand what it would be to grow up in a world like these two guys right here, to grow up in a place where the economy wasn't the #1 economy, it was actually really poor, and then in a matter of just a few decades just became this dominant global power, and you're living that. And it has such an impact on the way everything happens, the values and the mores and the way you think about life and the way all of your values, like what makes you happy and what should be. And it's disruptive because it has to be disruptive because it can't be otherwise. That's the nature of how like I was actually going to have someone from the Arab Middle East, in particular somebody from Saudi Arabia up here as well. And then I decided we would do something else. But like it's very similar to this kind of new wealth that we see in the Arab world, especially like in Qatar and the Emirates and Saudi and to a lesser degree Oman. But you know what I mean? So you have such a very different experience than these two women over here, right? And so here, let me, so can I ask you a question? Actually, let me ask you first. So for Americans, like friends is really important, right? And what do you think is behind that? Because for Koreans, friends, you were the lowest country. Friends didn't mean anything. When people ask, like, what are the most important things, the last thing people put, two of the three last things people put were friends. So, and Chinese would be kind of similar, actually. So what do you think puts friends up at top?
I feel like it might be the fact that, like, friends and social life is incorporated in a lot of places that Americans go to, work, school. Like, I can say I don't engage with friends, but I mean, I can name multiple in the class right now. I can name multiple at work, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's like, we don't even realize how often we are interacting with friends or people that we consider friends every single day.
And they're valued.
And I think, and I think since it becomes like such, like one of the higher interactions that you have throughout your week or so, like you tend to value them more because it creates like the support system that I was talking about earlier.
And are they connected to family in that way, do you think? Like
I think,
friends
yes.
and family
I
are
think
just
the
one
way
thing?
that the U.S. like sort of is like friends and family, I've always thought the U.S. puts in the same category.
And is that, and would you say that's true in Mexico?
I would.
Yeah, I would
think
say
I
the same
would.
thing. Yeah, I would say a similar thing.
I agree with that, like, completely. Like, my friends, like, are my family. Like, I'm very friend-oriented. Like, I'm always with them when I'm not home or, like, doing something else. Like, my friends, like, I consider them, like, my fun time. Like, that would be, like when I get, like, leisure or anything. Like, I hang out with my friends, like, all the time. And, like, that's why I value them so much because, like, for me, like, I go to them for things like more than I would go to like my own parents.
Got you. So friends and it's like friends and family. And I think those of us who researched this kind of issue, I think we would say that those two kind of get combined in the West, especially here in the U.S. And how about you? Like that idea of friends and family are the same thing. Do you have that?
So there's an old saying that blood is thicker than water, and it means family is more close than any friends. And we Korean believe it is the most accurate things in times, because like so in Korea we consume those cultures like betraying others in media. I think that's the one problem that people think it is possible just to betray your friends. And I think that's the problem.
So you think, wait, so hang on. So Korea has developed this media culture, right? And say more about that. Like this is the Hallyu, right? This is like this Korean wave kind of thing. So say more about that.
If you have watched Squid Game at the end, it may be...
Did you guys watch Squid Game? The Squid Game? Did you see that? Okay, go
Have
ahead.
you guys all watched it?
How many
guys-
watched Squid Game? Yeah? Oh, man, okay.
I should probably say it. Because like at the end, the friend betrays.
Yeah, the friend is betrayed. Yeah. No, you can say it. Go ahead, right? So the idea is that, so blood's thicker than water. So you say that in Korea also, right? So family is key, but friends are like kind of secondary. Do you bring your friends to your house in Korea?
In childhood times, but not maybe if you're really that close, you can bring them. But
Yeah.
we don't usually do that.
So like I was in
We
Japan.
do not invite others very often.
You don't invite others very often into the home. Like
I,
I was in
I don't know.
China.
I said something wrong.
Yeah, it's not common.
It's not
It's for you all. It's probably really common to have your friends over, right?
Yeah, I'd say I have my friends over like when I'm home almost like every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's not common. So when I said China, I meant Japan. When I was in Japan, the only thing I wanted to do in Japan, like I had a lot of things I wanted to do, but the main thing I wanted to do was enter somebody's house, right? I wanted to get inside of somebody's house. And just like I was trying to just get Japanese, somebody who's Japanese. And I, met lots of people and I knew some people going over and kind of met them. And I'm like, I want to get an invitation to go to someone's house and have a meal or have tea or something. And I couldn't make it happen. And I'm like, man, it's just a thing. It's just a very different way. Like somebody comes from the other side of the world and comes to my house and it's fine. It's like not really our friends over, but I couldn't make it happen. And it's not like a thing that it's impossible. It's just not common. Is that would you say that?
Probably yes.
Yeah. Would you say that, bro? Is that similar? Would you agree with that, more or less? Yeah? Wait, hang on a second. I want to, so as the Korean American guy, so you said you shook your head, Sung Chung. You shook your head, yes.
Oh, can you repeat the question?
So the question is like, is it common like having friends and family, like blending them together? Like how common is that? Like you're blending family, like I gave the story in Japan, I just couldn't break that barrier. And he's saying like, yeah, it's not really common to have your friends over on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, I always had friends over, and they were like family to me.
But you're now Americanized,
Yeah,
right?
I'm Americanized, so
Uh-huh.
I didn't experience that kind of thing.
In the U.S.
Yeah.
And that's the change, right? So that's the thing. You grow up here, and it has an impact. Chuzi, how about you?
Probably I haven't been betrayed by my friends yet, so I still value the friends most. Because probably yeah, like what I said, the eastern world, the eastern countries like China, Japan, Korean, North Korea, South Korea, very value their personal development. They really want the person herself to be really great, and on the growth of a person's life, probably their friends will lost the step, can't follow the step, so they might lost the topic, they may lost the common thing. Maybe if I go into a higher or better high school, my primary school best friend are not be accepted by a high school. Maybe we will lost the common thing. We will lost the topic, and that make us don't talk anymore and don't be the close friends. I think.
So, but in the U.S. that wouldn't be valued, right? Like it's like this idea of like friends for life kind of thing. You could in certain quarters, but that's not. That would be my experience also. Hey, let me ask a couple final things, and then we're going to go in a different direction. Who do you think is number one in terms of freedom? Like, which country do you think values freedom highest? Can you go back to just like, it's not on here, but which country do you think says like, yeah, freedom is the most important thing? Had the greatest percentage of people saying like freedom. It's not number one. It's just like when they started listing them, more people from this country said freedom than any other country. Do you have it?
So if I refer to the U.S., am I referring to like white people?
No, just all Americans. Yeah. Dude,
I'd say Sweden.
Yeah, Sweden?
Yeah.
What would you say, Danielle?
I don't really know much about like other countries. I would say the United States. I mean, I am white and like I grew up in like the suburbs, so like I I feel like I have as much freedom to do honestly whatever I want.
All right. What do you think? What country said freedom?
I would also say U.S.
Yeah? Bro, Chuzi, how about you?
Me too, U.S. From their the appearance, they are always like to
Yeah, we're always talking about freedom.
yeah, always talking about freedom.
Yeah.
Whichever in the music, in the movies,
Yeah.
Hollywood cultures.
Usually people who talk about things aren't really good at doing it, by the way. But nonetheless, it's not the U.S. In fact, U.S. is down right in the lower middle of people in the end. Like you'd think that we're going to talk about it, but in the end it's really not. The number one country is the Netherlands. It's the Dutch. The Dutch are all about freedom, man. I mean, look, in the Netherlands, you can go, you go to Amsterdam, right? Like you can go smoke a joint in the morning and go to like a police station and shoot up some heroin in the afternoon. Go to a prostitute in the evening and kill yourself at night. Like you have like all the freedoms in the Netherlands, right? You can do anything. And here you can't. Can you do any of those things? Well, you can smoke a joint in some places, but like we're experimenting with needle exchange. So we're kind of doing that. Prostitution is mostly illegal, and like you can only kill yourself in a couple states. So that's kind of bizarre. Like the land of freedom is really often not. That's why we talk about it a lot, but it's often people who talk about things the most. It's not. Hey, final thing. Just out of curiosity, what do you think the people who, for whom work is the most important for them, are they wealthier people or poorer people? Yeah, people that prioritize work. Like, work gives me meaning in life. Do you think on average they're poorer people or wealthier people?
I think I'll probably answer this with work harder or work smarter, not harder. Like it's very much the people that work harder sometimes like overwork and tire themselves out and think that like maybe like submitting themselves to capitalism is the only way, when other people might be a little bit more inspired to do other things, I guess.
Like people with less money would be,
Right.
Yeah, Danielle, do you have a thought on that?
I mean, I think it just depends. Like, you could be the richest person in the world and work every second of the day, and you can be like super poor and like still have to like work really hard just to like keep yourself like the roof over your head. Like, it honestly just depends on like what job or like occupation you have.
So what's interesting is that, life is, we tend to prioritize the things or put value in the things that give us the meaning in the ways that we need to have meaning, right? So people with more money oftentimes put a lot of value into work because they're getting a lot of value from that work. And people with less money, if your work is less likely to give you the greatest amount of stability, but other things around you like family and friends and your health really matter, all those other things, people will tend to put energy into those other things and not the work itself. So it's kind of there. Dude, awesome. Do you have a final response? Do either of you have a final response? Wait, I have one. I want to ask Yun Sung. So when we ask about romantic partners, Koreans are the least likely to even mention romantic partners as being of any importance whatsoever. Do you have any thought about that? Like we say, like, how much do you value all these things? And romantic partners is at the very, very bottom.
I personally do believe that because I currently do not have those with me. But
So the question is, why do you think Koreans, when
Yes.
say like, hey, wait, hang on, my relationships, my interpersonal my romantic relationships are actually really important for me. Whereas for Americans, they were the highest for Americans.
because like most of us, the first priority to being alive is to make money.
So that you can,
To make money, there's no time to being romantic.
no time to be romantic. Oh my God. All right. You can't just like
the charts.
you can't bond over like a glass of soju or something.
Gossips.
Yeah.
Maybe at midnight or so.
Yeah.
But
Where do you think China would be on this issue of romantic partners, Choosy?
Actually, I don't know because the Chinese thing are really similar to the Korean, and especially the feminists are really popular recent years. But for me, I really value it. Probably you can see the ring on my finger. Yeah, and
Wait, what's the ring? Are you married?
yes, but in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a wife?
Yes.
Dude, see that? Hang on. Hang on. You get a close up? It's a real ring. Yeah. Dude, all right. Is she Chinese?
Yes.
Yeah. Where's she from?
It's also China.
Yeah, from China. Wait,
Yeah.
is she here or is she back in China?
It's still here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So you're gonna do this startup. You're gonna make a lot of money, and the two of you are gonna be rich. And then you're gonna hire a bunch of Americans who have majored in sociology to work for you, right? What do you think about the fact that he's married?
I mean, we were both kind of shocked. Like, I was literally talking with my friends about this today. I was like, I don't want to get married for like another like 8 years, like 6 years. Like, I'm in no rush to get married. So hearing that you're married, like, how old are you?
22.
Okay, so I'm 20. Like, that's insane to me.
Yeah.
I think that's
That's not-
awesome.
you're not insane. It's insane.
It's insane to me.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
You think it's great? Cool, man. All right. Hey, so listen, I want to go in a slight. You can. So we're done here. So clap, everybody. Yeah. Okay. So here's what. Wait, we still have 10 minutes. So don't put your coats on. So here's what I want to do. You can blacken that for a second. I just want to open it up. We have 10 minutes here, and I haven't done this yet. So it could be one of you, actually. It could be anybody. What are just a question? We've now had 7. It doesn't have to be about today. It could be about anything at all that we've talked about in class. So
All right, so yeah, my question is actually about today. I thought it was really interesting how you said, like, you know, have this tradition of inviting people over to your house. So how do you usually, like, socialize in your home countries? Like, I know there are many ways, but, like, inviting people over is kind of, like, common here.
Parties. Yeah,
Okay.
parties.
yeah, parties were not in your house.
Sometimes in our house, sometimes maybe in the karaoke or the bar, pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are lots of restaurants that are aimed for those relationships in Korea. So we go to those places.
So you go meet all your friends and stuff in restaurants. Nice question. Bro.
You said like your family is really important to you, but like what about the distant family? You know, like first cousins, second cousins, are they equally important to you like your family, or are your friends closer to you than like?
So in Mexico, the whole country is a cousin, right? Anyway, but go ahead. Yeah.
Wait, sorry. What was the question?
Are you asking? Who are you asking, by the way?
Mostly like in China and Taiwan, Korea. Sorry.
Yeah, how far back is extended family? Like, because in Mexico, extended family is everything, right? Like all your cousins and stuff, right? It's huge in Latino culture. How about for you all? How far back is family important? Is it just nuclear family, or is it grandparents, great-grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles?
Oh, okay, thank you. For families, I think just parents, cousins, grandparents. Yeah, I think it could be defined as a core family.
So everybody. And the thing about the Chinese, the one-child rule in China, meant that the large extended families that you would see somewhere in Mexico or even in the US, it's like so much smaller because everyone's just having one child. And so you don't have that massive. Yeah, that's a good question. Somebody else. Who has a question that you want to ask it about anything? Could be today's class, could be another class. Yes, ma'am.
I know with like getting married young, like what do your parents think about that from a sociological standpoint?
Our parents actually don't know. So
Dude. Oh my God. Well, luckily, bro, luckily YouTube.
you know the startup people always do the disruptive things.
Yeah, they do. You're right. And luckily YouTube is like you got to have a VPN to watch YouTube in China, right? So your parents aren't going to be watching YouTube. So they're not going to see it. They won't know. Yeah. You're from Oman, right?
Yeah.
It's not uncommon to get married young in Oman, right?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
So my question is, what are some of the Western values that you wish you had more of in Asia?
Dude, beautiful question.
Actually, I haven't catch you. Can you?
Go ahead, ask again. That's a good question.
So I'm asking, what are some of the Western values that people have in America, for example, that you wish people had in China?
Pardon again?
Dude, I'll say it. This is an awesome question, man. What are some of the values that we have in the U.S., for example, right, that you wish you had in China or Korea? Do you have an answer to that? Yeah.
So, like in US, like teenagers above 17 or so, I believe they're kicked out of their house. Is that true?
Yeah.
I don't
Not
know.
really kicked
Not
out,
really,
but
but
it's
like
not kicked out. But you can, if you leave, for most
they admire
people, if you
freedom.
left, like you go off to college, like that's okay. Yeah.
But in Korea, you tend to live in your parents' house until like 20s, or maybe some of them late 20s. So
Late 20s. But that would be similar in Arab cultures, right? You'd stay home. You don't go out on your own. You live under your parents' roof until you get married.
In
right?
Oman, like you can stay in your parents' house even after marriage until you are financially settled and you know where you're going in life. You can stay as long as you want.
In that, hey, where's Yellow? Dude, what happened to Yellow? Can you stand up really fast? Can you just turn. All right, man. Can you just respond to that? Exactly, dude. Can you say that again? Because this is interesting.
So in Oman and many countries in the Middle East, you can stay at your parents' house for as long as you want, or until even after marriage, until you're financially settled and you know what you want to do in your future.
And if you do that, like if you stay home till you're 30, let's say you go back and you stay with your parents, are you seen as how are you seen?
You're not seen like as a failure or an outcast. It's something understandable, like as far as still right now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So parents would be, so many parents, obviously every parent is different.
Yeah.
And you could be an annoying son or like a cool son, but parents by and large would support that.
Yeah, it's like sort of a welfare system where the parents like want the best for their children, because if you're getting kicked out or you leave the house by 18 with no financial means and everything, you're gonna struggle. But what parents want, like in the Middle East at least, they don't want their children to struggle.
Yeah, that's where family. If you want to understand where family is important, in the Khaliji countries, in the Gulf countries, family is it's beyond. It's like the single most. It's off the scale of importance.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. What about? Did you have a question?
So mine's sort of specific to Korea, but I'm curious about China's perspective on this as well. So, I've heard there's this like concept within friendships that if someone's like a year older than you, like you have to refer to them with like specific, I guess like suffixes or like certain things attached to their name, and then like specifically with like drinking culture, like you have to turn away when you drink something. I didn't know if that was like
accurate, and also like how that changes the dynamic of your friendships, and if that has any effect on how you value friendships?
Yeah, I think that's really great point because like in Korea, you don't get friends with older brother or like younger brothers because
It's not common.
it's not common, but it's like cultural thing
Uh-huh.
because
So who are your friends then?
just my age.
Just your age. So who you're in school with really matters. So when you go above or you go below, then that really,
You cannot be friend.
yeah? It's uncommon, yeah? Would you agree with that? Yeah? Bro, is that true in China? I mean, it's like, 1.4 billion people over there. You got a lot of people to be friends with.
It can't always apply this to all those populations. It's really like the old generation things.
Yeah. I got you. Whereas for the two of you, that wouldn't be anything at all. Like, you wouldn't even think about that. Uh-huh. That's a great question, by the way. Yo, hang on. We have one final question. Can you hand that back? Wait, hang on. Adam, right?
Yep.
Dude. Dude, wait,
All right,
can you
so-
stand up? The camera can pick up that awesome sweater you're wearing.
So my question is for you two. How does it feel being in America where typically in America when there's stereotypes they're looked down upon, but you guys as international students, your stereotypes are often, I guess, sought after or fetishized. Like, you come here and everyone's like, oh my God, like you're from Korea, like we love Korean dramas, or you're from China and you're like, well, everyone there is smart. Like, how does it feel to be here in America and have those stereotypes kind of like aid in your success and aid in your popularity?
Like, you don't have to wear a cool sweater to be cool.
Actually, there was a fun fact from my math class. Like, everybody wants to be my deskmate because they think my math is good. And actually, I enjoy this kind of stereotype. Yeah. For other stereotype, I think it could be changed. It could be changed if if the new generation knows the because things is always change. Especially we are all people. We are all ordinary peoples. You can't just use a label or a hashtag to define a really large population of people.
Yeah. Hey, what's the number one hang on, final quick question. What's the number one when you tell people you're Mexican, what's the first thing that people say to you? Do you like tacos?
Are you legal?
Really? People ask that?
Did you live in a dirt house?
So
Do you have education?
You start talking and they hear your American accent and they...
Well, up in the north, in PA, I would say I'm like very much outcasted as Latina.
Yeah.
But in Texas, I was like a fake Mexican. They call them like Yo Sabo kids.
Yeah.
Like you like know Spanish, but like you don't know the grammatical like rules, and you really don't know that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks, ma'am. All right. See you. Thanks. Hey, nice